afternoon, WildEarth fans, and welcome to Penguin Beach. We are just listening to some beautiful leopard vocalizations. It's a territorial display between two male leopards.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Cedric Dold. Welcome. What a fantastic afternoon and a week that is absolutely looking forward to so much leopard activity. It's Leopard Week this week. I'm really looking forward to it, Byron. Thank you very much for hosting me once again at Penguin Beach.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Cedric. It has been absolutely fantastic having you here, and I know Jax has enjoyed it, and I know that all the viewers back home have enjoyed it again, and I feel that it's quite fitting that you are here during Leopard Week because you really love leopards and you have had so much experience in the low-veld, in particular in the Sabi Sands, working with a number of different leopards that are so dear to the hearts of all the viewers.
Yes, definitely, Byron. I think it is amazing. I mean, it's not just in the Sabi Sands. I reckon in like the entire South Africa, we've got so many different kinds of leopards around here. I know here in the Cape, you've got the Cape leopard, and I think we are actually looking at Leopard Cove, one of the beautiful areas here down at Betty's Bay, where we actually have, I heard from Byron that we have had leopard activity this side, which is absolutely amazing. I'm really looking forward to hopefully maybe one day to see a Cape leopard in this area.
Cedric, we have a comment for you from Victoria, and Victoria has said that she is definitely going to miss you on Penguin Beach.
Victoria, good afternoon. Thank you so much for that comment. Yes, definitely I will be missing Penguin Beach. I will be heading back to the Sabi Sands next week, but definitely I'm going to be missing Byron, Jax, and of course Flippy behind the camera this afternoon. And I think just this area is phenomenal, and I'm really looking forward to today's show. There's so much activity once again, and once again, as I said, it is Leopard Week. So yes, thank you very much for that comment.
It is a beautiful day down here in Betty's Bay, and I think we can head over to the official weather forecast to see what we can expect for the duration of the show. A fresh 17 degrees, and it is fresh indeed. I know Cedric is wearing short pants, but that is the norm when it comes to Cedric. He doesn't wear long pants. We have a southeast wind blowing today, and the water is very chilly indeed, and we are experiencing that cold ocean breeze. Cedric, what are your thoughts about the weather since you have been down here in Betty's Bay?
Well, Byron, definitely. I've actually realized, like in the low-veld, we'll have like one really weather system coming through for the day. But since I've been down in the Western Cape, almost we had like 4 seasons in a day, which is phenomenal. Something different to me, but it is. I've been really fortunate enough for the last 3 days that it's been stunning weather. The sun has been shining. Today is a little bit windy, a little bit breezy, but it's not so bad. I think it's it's doable for a person to come down to the Western Cape, and as you can see, a little bit of rough water around. I'm sure that's why the penguins do not want to go and swim and go out and go and feed for the morning. But other than that, definitely I'm looking forward to the low-veld weather coming up very soon again. But yes, I think I've been very fortunate, Byron. I think I really brought the low-veld weather this side to the Western Cape.
You did indeed. In the Western Cape, generally you can't braai daily, and while you've been here, we've been able to light the fire, and the smoke has gone straight up, so that is absolutely incredible.
Definitely.
My heart rate has gone up slightly. In fact, it's gone up quite a lot. This elephant is now 2 meters from us. Okay, we might have to move here. No? Yes. Sorry, my friend, but you're about to push that onto the car. You see how cross he was that we didn't want to watch him push the tree over. That's why we moved.
Tingana has been affectionately known as the Duke of Juma for many years, but his path to the throne was not an easy one. Mvula was a legend from the south.
This is the cat that I'm pretty sure Tingana was sniffing around for. That is Mvula. How exciting is this?
Eventually, Mvula lost, but his young son Quarantine started to push through from the east. At the beginning of 2018, an intruder arrived. His name was Hukamuri.
The main reason we have decided to come down to Jacuzzi is to check on the penguin family at the Shire. We have 2 penguin chicks in the Shire. We've got little Frodo, who hatched first, and we also have Flippy, who was named last week, and I can't wait to see if we can see these 2 penguin chicks. We were very fortunate. Just before the show started, we saw a changeover of parenting duties. We've got a lovely comment here, Cedric, from Mobile Laptop. Run, penguins, run. There is a leopard.
Mobile Laptop, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon at Penguin Beach. No, I'm sure that I don't have to run. I'm not that dangerous. I don't think I can assert my danger as the Juma leopards do on their prey species this side here, on the penguins itself. But definitely, we're talking about leopards. Well, you know, there is, speaking to Byron as well, talking about leopard seals. Well, a leopard seal is one of the ferocious predators of the ocean. And I think I haven't seen them before. Definitely, well, I haven't even seen a seal in my life. So that is one of those things on my bucket list, to see a leopard seal. And apparently I heard that the female leopard seal is larger than the male leopard seal, which is incredible. Thinking about when it comes to the leopards itself, coming through to the Pantheropods family and the species itself, you'll find that the male leopard is much larger, twice the size of a female. Where, of course, with the leopard seal, I think it's 400 kilograms a male. We have females about 200 to 250 kilograms. That is absolutely a large size for a leopard seal. I do not even think I want to really encounter something like that in the ocean. But I'm sure, Byron, you would love to. That's your definitely your niche of expertise and enjoyment to terrestrial leopards.
So there has been a 1 or 2 records of leopard seals being spotted around here in the Cape. The most recent was seen at Seal Island, but there are vagrants to the region, and they generally hang around in Antarctica and around the islands in the Southern Ocean. But I did actually receive a call from one of my friends not so long ago, and he said, I'm pretty certain that we have just seen a leopard seal in Amanus, and he tried to track that leopard seal and couldn't find it. I must say I'm a lot more comfortable with the Cape fur seals because I've spent a number of years surfing in this region, and the Cape fur seals are very, very playful. They have scared me once or twice, especially when I'm not concentrating and they're not concentrating. They like to swim on their backs and they don't pay any attention, and we've really bumped into each other on a couple of occasions, which can be heart-stopping to say the least. I always think straight to a great white shark when I see something grey in the water that splashes. Strangely enough, at Stony Point, leopards have been recorded, and this is the Cape mountain leopard. We're just listening to some very noisy Egyptian geese. There seems to be a pair down here, and an individual Egyptian goose just flew over them, and they were not too happy about it at all, so they started to vocalize, and that Egyptian goose continued to fly all the way to Cormorant Corner. So they are protecting their territory here at the Jacuzzi.
morning we were driving and suddenly we heard a lot of commotion. I think the wild dogs might have caught an impala then, or the leopard might have caught the impala, and as it was dragging it, the wild dog saw it, started chasing the leopard up into the tree, and then the hyenas came to steal it. But what an incredible sighting.
You make a good point there, Cedric, with regards to the Cape leopards. They are a lot smaller than the leopards you will find in the Lowveld. And if we unpack that just a little bit, it goes all the way back to the geology of the region. Ella, that is a fantastic question. Why is it called a leopard seal? It's a very, very interesting and relevant question that you have asked. So my first thought when it comes to a leopard seal is that it is a ferocious predator, just like a leopard. What are your thoughts, Cedric?
I think it's a leopard seal, if I'm not mistaken. Doesn't a leopard seal have the coloration of a leopard as well? Like a little bit of that rosettes and just the camouflage of how a leopard uses its camouflage for stalking its prey and being a solitary predator and really getting up close to its prey species without it even noticing it. So I think it's maybe like there's a couple of similarities to your normal leopard, your typical leopard on land, where of course your leopard seal utilizes as well. So I think it's a coloration, a solitary, sneaky, and very elusive. And of course, being around here, as Byron says, they've only really seen one around this side in quite some time. So yes, maybe that could be the case as well.
I must agree. I know that they are very stealthy when it comes to their hunting techniques, and they often like to hide under the ice sheets and surprise penguins returning from feeding, and the penguins do not even know that they are there.
That's interesting.
Thank you so much for that question.
Yes, definitely fantastic question.
So if we look at the geology in the Cape Floral Kingdom, it's mainly sandstone. It's called mountain sandstone, and it's acidic and nutrient poor, and that causes the vegetation to be poor in nutrients. If you look at Fynbos, it is a shrubland, a medium-high shrubland at best, and all the primary consumers, like the antelope, they eat the nutrient-poor vegetation, and as a result, they are also small, which in turn leads to the predators being small as well. So a male Cape Mountain leopard is about the size of a female that Cedric would see in the Lowveld, so a lot smaller than the bushveld leopards, where there are high nutrients in the soil, and of course you've got plants that are producing a lot of nutrients, as well as these very, very large primary consumers.
Very clever. I think it's all about adaptation, and over the times, that's why I say leopards in many places in the world itself, they really adapt themselves for their area, and it's one of the most adaptable cats that you'll ever find. I always find that if there's one cat that's going to be the last cat remaining in the world, it'll be a leopard, because it's compared to any other cat, they know how to improvise and adapt themselves to their surrounding and to their habitat.
With the traditional stories I've learned that it does have future and a past. If you follow it, you'll never ever go wrong in life. It's very important because it contains, of course, the history background and the knowledge of the bush. In every family they have so-called a tree or amarula tree. We'll go there and kneel down and talk to the tree and said, we want success in the family.
Ribbon is the matriarch and has recently been seen with injuries to her body. Corky was the previous matriarch and is believed to be taking back her status. Intima was born to Ribbon in February 2017 and also enjoys a high ranking. Heart is the next rank down, and June is believed to be the lowest rank, easily recognizable by a floppy left ear.
parental investment duties that are shared amongst the African penguins. So fascinating. It really is a 50-50% investment. So very awesome little birds. Arctic Circle, fascinating question. And Arctic Circle, they were hunted by humans in the past. Fortunately for the adults, they didn't taste very well. That's what has been reported. I've never ever tasted a penguin, but penguins were reported as early as the late, it was about in 1497, around that area. And I forget who arrived first, Bartholomew Dias or Vasco da Gama, but there was actually written records of African penguins that were recorded during their journey. The main predation that took place was actually predation on their eggs. So penguin eggs were first considered as a very easily accessible food source, but then they were harvested so heavily that penguin eggs became very, very scarce. And after that, the penguin eggs were actually considered a delicacy. So penguins are not allowed to be hunted and their eggs are not allowed to be collected. And that's why areas such as Stony Point, as well as the Boulders Beach colony and all the various other penguin colonies around Southern Africa are so important to safeguard this species.
I think there's so much respect to that. I think it's so important to the environment, so important to keep this the species going. And I think on top of that, it's almost a cycle that brings other species coming through as well, where they kind of coexist with each other and they actually kind of utilize each other's hunting techniques and all that to actually further their food intake. And I think it's very important for certain species to be together like this. Fantastic that they still are so well protected.
That is fascinating, Cedric. You are quite right. And we have another question for you. We've got a question from Honey Badger, and Honey Badger would like to know if you have learnt a lot about penguins.
Honey Badger, good afternoon. Thank you so much for the question. Yes, Honey Badger, I have learnt a lot about penguins. Thanks, of course, to Jax and Byron. They really taught me a lot. I never thought they were so interesting until I actually got to Penguin Beach itself, and to just look at their behavior and each one's, just the relationship between the male and the female, and where they make their shire, and actually how they actually look after the young, or the young, and incubate the eggs. It is really, really fascinating. It's another most fascinating part about it is how they all come together before they go out into sea, and make sure they've got like enough in numbers, like safety in numbers, typical like the DJUMA area where you've got safety in numbers, and where they all go out together and look for a food source somewhere out deep in the ocean. And I heard, like they said, that they go up to about 40-50 kilometers out into the sea to look for different fish sources, which is amazing, absolutely amazing. It's just amazing how far wildlife can take you around in these areas. And yes, Honey Badger, I thought I knew everything up there at DJUMA. Clearly, not even everything that's up, but like I knew nothing about Penguin Beach. And thanks once again to Byron and Jax that they really taught me a lot about this area, and put my heart as well into the entire African region, from marine into the vegetation or bushveld that we do have. But thanks, Honey Badger, for that question.
3 brothers named the Avoca males arrived in DJUMA in 2018. This area had recently been vacated by the Birmingham boys. In 2019, they were seen mating with females from both prides and went on to sire cubs with them. The most recognizable lion in this coalition is Darkmane. Aside from the dark mane that gave him his name, he can be recognized by a distinctive limp.
In that tree are 2 carcasses. There's a duiker carcass and a waterbuck. Well, it's not as graceful as... He's a bit hesitant because, well, climbing a tree is not the easiest, but he will get up there eventually. So let's see. There he goes. And look at the power in that. That is a massive 500-pound cat that has just climbed a marula tree and is up in there. How cool is this? I don't know how he's going to do it, but let's see.
I'm sure as soon as these chicks start to wiggle about a little bit, or if we hear the piping call, this male will move. Hopefully we can observe some feeding taking place, and we can observe this male regurgitating some partly digested fish for Frodo and Flippy.
When does Frodo and Flippy, when do these chicks actually start feeding on solids?
So they will be looked after their parents quite intensely up until about 25 to 30 days old. And once they are about 25 to 30 days old, their parents are going to leave them in what's known as creches. And you're going to see all these very large penguin chicks hanging out together and chilling out, waiting for mom and dad to return from offshore. And then only when they get to the age of about 60 days to 130 days, it really does depend if they are single brooded or double brooded, and also what food source their parents have been provisioning them. If they have been provisioned sardines, for example, generally the chicks grow a lot quicker and are able to fledge and head out into the sea to go and hunt for themselves. But if they have been provisioned on squid, they generally develop a lot slower because squid is not as nutritious, doesn't have all those amazing oils.
So incredible.
So they will.
Absolutely amazing.
It's incredible.
It's amazing how the food source is one of the things on the speed or the growth of speed and all that, where there's like hyenas, for instance, almost the same kind of thing. Like if you say, look at the matriarch's cubs, sure, they'll always get really the first choice and the preference on the real good substances just for them to grow much quicker compared to the other cubs. And it is amazing, like now with food source, it's always such an important thing for growth.
Hello Terry, and welcome to the show, and thank you for tuning in with us down here at Penguin Beach today. I'm pretty certain that Mark and Cleopatra will hang around Penguin Beach. Egyptian geese, they do hold territories mainly when they are breeding, and they can form loose flocks, but they generally do not travel loose flocks when they are out of the breeding season, I should say. But they generally I'm getting tongue-tied today, do not travel too far from the areas that they breed, so we are likely to bump into them again. I really hope that we do, and I actually can't wait to see how the Crazy 8 or Crazy 9 are doing down there on the left wing. Maybe we'll pop in there tomorrow and see what they are up to. We can see if we can locate those individuals. I must say, Cedric, I do find hyenas fascinating, and they have definitely become one of my favorite mammals. Being able to spend time with Swazi and Ribbon down there, and also learn a little bit more about their social structure and the rearing of their cubs has been incredible. Cedric is laughing, and Flippy, let's have a look at the penguins starting to come off the rocks.
There's a big wave that just hit one of them.
Is that why you were laughing, Cedric?
That's exactly. Sorry, it was just a big wave that came in, and all the penguins were loving the sun, and this wave knocked one or two penguins right over, and yeah, they weren't looking too happy when that did happen. I really think they are very cute and very clumsy, but very cute.
Very, very clumsy on land, and very, very cute, and they really do not like being hit by water when it is not their choice. They like to decide for themselves when they enter the water. And these individuals have moved up onto the drier rocks. You can see just the difference in color between the rocks. The rocks that are wet are quite dark brown at the moment in color, and the rocks that are not wet, you'll notice, still has some guano on them from the variety of different seabirds found down here at Penguin Beach. So they are taking caution and trying to stay dry. I don't think they need to do too much swimming today to cool off, because this wind is providing a nice little bit of air conditioning for the penguins down here, as well as for us. So I think without wind, it would have been quite warm for us down here on the coast. is hilarious, Kathy Lee. Thank you so much for sending in that question. Cedric, Kathy Lee would love to know if you have seen a limpet at Penguin Beach that looks just like your bucket hat.
Kathy Lee. Oh, no ways. I actually haven't seen a limpet yet. Yes, of course, Jax did show me the limpet that looks very much similar to my terrible looking hat.
I love that hat.
It's not I love it too, it's like, yeah, but no, I have not seen a limpet yet. Yeah, I left my hat back at DJUMA, so I'm sure when I get back I'll definitely put it on again, and maybe I'll feel at home in part of the sea and part of DJUMA with that hat. So I think, but Kathy Lee, thank you very much. And well, most of the people actually enjoyed the hat more than the limpet itself. So I think Jax really came second best there.
That hat does act like a limpet as well, Cedric. As soon as you touch it, it seems to stick tighter and tighter to your head. I don't know.
It does.
Don't know what's up with that hat.
It does, especially when it gets wet and when there's a bit of rain. I'm sure that, actually not sure. I know that hat pretty much becomes part of my head. So yeah, it's we're in one.
All WildEarth explorers have a chance to join our naturalists in a monthly fireside chat. This is a great way to learn more about our guides, animal characters, and wildlife locations. We would love to hear from you as to the topics that interest you the most. Email us your ideas or tweet using the hashtag WildEarth, and we will be sure to take them into account when planning our evenings around the fire in the future. WildEarth explorers, it's in your nature.
We had a nice smooth exit from an individual penguin that was hanging out in the treacherous low tide jacuzzi pool, and still another individual struggling amongst the shallow rocks. And I must say, Cedric, actually covered with limpets.
But it's amazing how these penguins, it's amazing how smooth some of them make it look like, you know, when they're coming in, and like they know exactly the positioning and what they do. It is really, really fascinating. I think their body structure, their feathers, everything is built just right for them, just to glide through the water. And it is really, really awesome. Oh, well, maybe that. He's taking a bit of strain there. There we go, buddy. He's just made it. Well done. There you go. We'll hop or two.
Hello, Moonbeam, and thank you so much for joining in the fun down here at Penguin Beach. So no, we do not get walruses, unfortunately, here in South Africa. I haven't heard of one ending up here either. Of course, sometimes animals are vagrants and pop up in unexpected places. Vagrants that we have recorded down here are the elephant seal as well as the leopard seal. So there is an elephant seal that is hanging around Dacre Island in Hout Bay, so closer to the Cape Peninsula, and that seal's name is Buffle. It's become quite a celebrity around the Cape, and when it hauls out to molt, people go down there to view Buffle, and some people have been lucky enough to snorkel with Buffle at Dacre Island while hanging around with the Cape fur seals.
I wonder if you actually get a big five marine. So you got a leopard seal, elephant seal. Do you get a buffalo, something, a lion, and a rhino?
So there is a marine big five, but it's not related to the names leopard, buffalo, rhino, for example.
Fantastic.
Hello, Vicky or Nikki. I couldn't quite get your name, but I definitely have the last 4 letters correct. So I could say that I'm 80% correct, which is very, very good. But my apologies in all seriousness. So the difference between Cape fur seals or fur seals and true seals, there are a number of differences. Vicky with the V. The difference between the fur seals is that they have external ear flaps, so you will actually see their little ears, and their hind flippers can actually rotate forward, which allows them to maneuver on land a little bit better than the true seals. And if you looked at true seals, they do not have external ear flaps, and a true seal would be the leopard seal, for example. They also do not rotate their flippers forward, and they also use their hind flippers for propulsion, similar to a fish or a dolphin, for example, whereas the fur seals will actually use their front flippers for propulsion.
Wow, that is fantastic. I mean, Byron, I almost thought a normal Cape fur seal was a true seal.
Crazy, eh?
That is fantastic. Great news. That's so much information, so valuable stuff to learn, especially Byron, yeah, being at the Penguin Beach and the marine side. It is every day is a new learning experience for me.
That's also why sometimes the Cape fur seal can get lucky on land and actually predate on a penguin, but it is a very, very rare occurrence. They'll normally predate on them in the water.
There's a big male leopard coming this way.
Been waiting for a sighting of the two of them like this together. She just, for me, is just one of the most pretty females out here. As you can see, we're sitting with the Duke of Djuma, Tingana, who is busy surveying his territory as the sun begins to set on another day in South Africa.
Here at WildEarth, we have added a range of new products and designs for the WildEarth shop. If you love being in nature, then we have a new range just for you. Our animal character line continues to grow, and this week we have incorporated a beautiful Tandy design to celebrate our favorite queen's life. April is Earth Day month, and investing in our planet is the message. And finally, there's a range just for our very own WildEarth explorers. Head over to our shop now and see what you can find.
When I picture that predator-prey interaction, I just see it happening in slow mode. Unfolding in slow motion. Penguins don't move very quickly on land, and neither do seals, but as soon as they get in the water, they are both very, very agile. We've got a couple more individuals coming in through the treacherous waves. Yeah, I know that Cedric absolutely loves watching them come in.
Struggling
to come in. And you'll see when the water actually sucks out, so Cedric's pointed out that a juvenile African penguin is busy tobogganing its way over the rocks, and has actually done quite well. Got out of the water quite swiftly, but is not out of harm's way quite yet. Just look at all those surges, Cedric. Just look at all those rocks popping up as the water pulls out. It's like that adult is on a treadmill, on an ocean treadmill, struggling against.
No, it is. It's amazing. I mean, like that's. I think it must be a struggle every day, going in and out all the time. It must be really, really crazy, and I think they must be so fit. But once again, they are built for this kind of thing. But yeah, they are clumsy when it comes to rocks. But waterside, I think they are incredibly quick.
I've done this a lot with surfing, and sometimes you come in and you got to get out in front of rocks, and sometimes it's just so smooth, and you get your flip, because I'm a bodyboarder, so I wear flippers. So I get my flippers onto the rocks and I simply walk out like all cool, and then the following day you mistime everything and you get washed up onto the rocks, and you have spectators having a good chuckle at you, which is what we're doing now. We acknowledge the smooth exits, and
There's bad ones as well.
and also acknowledge the bad ones as well.
But definitely, we'll talk about Leopard Week as well. I mean, I know everybody had a fantastic view on Shidulu this morning, and you just saw how she climbed that tree this morning so gracefully, perfectly, and it's like so well adapted for that kind of situation. And one of those animals that's you're gonna watch every day going up and down a tree. And it's the same as penguins going in and out of the sea. I think it's always that very special moments.
It's amazing how different species have adapted to their environment. Can you imagine a leopard in the water over here navigating these rocks? Hello, Anna, and thank you so much for that question, a very relevant question as well. And Anna would like to know if the Cape leopards are different to the leopards in DJUMA. So, Anna, they are the exact same species. However, they are separated geographically. This Cape Floral Kingdom has the Cape Fold Mountain Belt, and it's nearly like a little island that keeps the Cape leopard separate from the rest of the leopard around South Africa. The main difference between them are their size. So the Cape leopard is a lot smaller, coming from a nutrient-poor environment, whereas the leopard that you are used to seeing in DJUMA comes from a nutrient-rich environment with an abundance of prey species. Their hunting techniques, or their prey, will also be a little bit different. So I'm going to let Cedric carry on with regards to what the leopard hunt in DJUMA, and then let's compare it to what the leopard will hunt here in the Cape.
Well, look, I think it's like over the time we were very fortunate to have a program called the Panthera program, and that Panthera program has really showed us exactly the species of prey that the leopard does hunt around the Sabi Sands in general, and exactly when and how many times they do hoist those prey species up into a tree, which really gives us an understanding and the knowledge of the leopards around that area. And I think it's around about 80% to 85% of the prey species is impalas. Impala is the main source for a leopard due to the size of impala, and especially this time of the year when the rutting is happening. Of course, the male impala is not aware of what the danger it has around it due to them challenging each other, and of course in keeping the females in their harems or just herding the females together. And I think the leopards are really taking that advantage of taking a lot of male impalas down at this time of the year. But just besides the point this time, even the rest of the year, you'll come to the end of the year when the little impala lambs coming through, and I've seen leopards really taking that opportunity to take little impala lambs. And I'm sure maybe something like that when it comes to penguin, the little chicks, they're very vulnerable at that point in time as well. I think when it comes to that season, I'm sure back in the days there were certain predators around you, maybe the foxes or jackals around you, or even the Cape Mountain leopard that really started hunting on younger penguin chicks.
My favorite thing about WildEarth are the animals and the interaction and the ability to wait and watch and not rush off. You get to watch their behavior and learn about the individuals. I would like to see the hyenas at the hyena den, and I have. There they are. Look at that. If I could be any animal, I would be a cheetah. I would love to run fast.
Our Western Cape coastline is graced with the Cape fur seal. This playful species is curious and entertaining. At Hout Bay Seal Rescue Centre, seals in need are rescued, fed and nursed back to health by our well-trained team of dedicated staff and volunteers. This wonderful legacy of the centre is continued as these protected creatures are rehabilitated and released back into the wild.
And if we had to look at the Cape Mountain leopard at its diet, you'll find that it would predate on small antelope species such as the Cape Grysbok, klipspringer, steenbokkies that we do see at DJUMA as well. There are Cape scrub hare here and Karoo scrub hare that they would also be able to eat in a variety of different bird species. So the prey items would be a lot smaller here in the Cape, and they would also have to range over a larger distance, because not only is the diversity and abundance of prey different, well, it is different, and that actually causes the leopards to have to roam further because the prey is not as abundant as it is up in the Sabi Sands. So the Cape Mountain leopard, its home range would be about 400 square kilometers. And I think Cedric can touch on the home range of the leopard that they find up in the Sabi.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Byron. That's very interesting, 400 square kilometers. And I mean, that is almost about, maybe about 10 times greater than the leopards that we do get up at the Sabi Sands. So I think because the availability of food and the area.
That's incredible. It's incredible how the same species has a different home range in different environments that ultimately leads back to the soil of an area. It's incredible. So everyone, if you're looking at animals and plants, just remember that the soil is very, very important in a habitat, and soil conservation is extremely important to ensure that all these animals that we enjoy viewing are still there for us and for future generations to see. We're back at the Shire, and this male has started to move around just a little bit. We haven't seen any activity underneath its belly, and it is keeping Frodo and Flippy very, very well hidden, which you can expect at this very young age. I still want to try and identify if the chick's eyes are open or not. You can see some activity taking place. The adult's head is turned towards the chicks, and let's see if the bull moves up and down. The bull is moving up and down, and that indicates that the chicks have been fed, or at least one of them, in all likelihood Frodo, because the larger chick generally bullies the smaller chick out of the way, and that is why you see two different sized chicks developing in penguin burrows. One might fledge as early as 60 days and the other might only fledge at 130 days old, because they are developing at different rates, and the eggs also hatch about 2 days apart. So the first chick, Frodo, definitely has a head start on its sibling. Looks like the other chick might be getting fed now as well. So it looked like the bull went towards the chick that is under the right-hand side, and previously it looked like the chick that was on the left-hand side was fed. And Flippy has actually just said to me, and he has indicated that one of the chick's eyes are open, so they remain blind for about 6 to 10 days. So once the eyes open, we should also start seeing the development of secondary down, which is more brown in color, and there is white around the face and the throat and the belly. But how cool is that to watch this male in the Shire feeding its chick partly digested fish?
We have got an epic battle going on between a pirate fly and a drop-tail ant. Look at that, look at that. So what's happening is these ants are moving from one side to another, and these pirate flies are trying to steal the baby ants.
Hukamore. Oh, here's an impressive looking male leopard. Look at that neck on him. He just looks ready for a fight.
This is only the third time that we are seeing him that is known as the Hukamori male, and he certainly has a lot of character and atmosphere.
This is gorgeous, Pukamuri having a drink at one of the little seasonal pans.
Isn't he absolutely gorgeous? Compact, powerful, focused. I love it.
Hello, Andrea. That is a fascinating question. So generally, when it comes to the African penguin, they have very, very high nest fidelity, and that means that they utilize the same nests over and over in consecutive breeding seasons. So if another couple were to occupy this nest, this specific pair down here at the Shire would get very upset, and I'm sure there would be some conflict. Of course, penguin pairs do separate as well, and young penguins also need to find mates for the first time, and that means that they wouldn't have a nesting burrow. So it is likely that another penguin pair would come to this nest and try to take it over. But they will also look for unoccupied sites where they can dig a burrow for themselves. And then they would use that nest over and over again in consecutive seasons, as long as they are reproducing successfully and as long as one of the partners do not perish to predators or any other factors that might lead to its demise. Can see how magnificent and long this penguin's bill is and how deep it is, indicating that it's a male. You can also see by its behavior that it is not heat stressed at all. It's not panting. And of course, they only really pant when they are very, very hot. And they use that lovely bare patch of skin above the eye and the bill to lose heat by bringing blood close to the surface to be cooled by external conditions such as this lovely cool ocean breeze. Cedric, have you been able to spot any of the penguin characters since you have been down here?
Byron, I've been looking around now at this point of time. I'm just struggling to get any of the characters around, but there is so many penguins here to really kind of go through and see if I can find Half Stan or Stanley, DJ, any of them. So I'm really trying to look, and I'm hoping to find one of them. I'm really, I'm keeping my eye peeled.
Well, I'm impressed that you know most of their names, and we are in an area where Half Stan, Stanley and DJ have been observed. It is about Stanley time at the moment. Stanley likes to appear normally with 10 minutes left in the Penguin Beach show. Normally rocks out here at Jacuzzi and then does its best to hide from the camera. Hello, Sugar Bits, and thank you for your question regarding the oyster catcher that had the fishing line, what appeared to be fishing line, wrapped around its leg. So unfortunately, I do not have an update with regards to that individual. Cape Nature have been trying to capture that oyster catcher, but it is very, very difficult to catch a bird that can fly when it senses danger approaching. So they will continue to try and capture that individual to remove the fishing line off of its leg. When we are around the left wing area, I'll definitely keep my eye out and make sure that if I see that individual, I continue to report it to the conservation authorities.
All WildEarth explorers have a chance to join our naturalists in a monthly fireside chat. This is a great way to learn more about our guides, animal characters, and wildlife locations. We would love to hear from you as to the topics that interest you the most. Email us your ideas or tweet using the hashtag WildEarth, and we will be sure to take them into account when planning our evenings around the fire in the future. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
I noticed straight away that when that juvenile started to approach an adult that was lying down, the adult was unhappy with that situation and pointed its bill directly at that individual. Darcy, I think that is a fantastic idea. Cedric, Darcy would like to know if you are going to jump into the water before you leave.
Darcy, good afternoon. Thank you for that, the suggestion. I don't even must take it as a suggestion or a question. Or but Darcy, thank you for joining us. Jumping into the water here in the Cape is it's a little, it's very cold. And put it this way, I'll give a quick summary. If I'm at DJUMA and it's about 40-45 degrees Celsius, so that's around about 102-105 degrees Fahrenheit, I would still have a hot shower before drive. So now if I have to get into a sea that is almost on a minus, I don't know if I will really get that right. But Darcy, no, I'm not going to be jumping into the sea. I think that would, my heart will stop and I'll have cramps and my toes will fall off.
Darcy, Cedric doesn't know it yet, but he will find out sooner or later. But I am going to be taking him to the beach a little bit later this afternoon, and it's one of my rituals to always swim regardless of how cold the water is. I did have a swim yesterday and it felt like my skin was actually burning from the cold. And it is quite therapeutic and you feel very, very refreshed. So let me see if I can convince Cedric to jump in with me. And Cedric, I think all you need to do is once you have had that swim in the nice icy Atlantic Ocean, you can go home and you can have a nice warm shower to heat yourself up again. But it is a must.
Thank you.
It is a must.
It is definitely a must. I think I'll put the wetsuit on and pee in the wetsuit and keep myself warm.
Nice. That is definitely an old surfer's trick to try and stay nicely insulated.
Thanks, Byron.
And bearing that in mind, you're definitely going to need a shower, not just to get warm, but also just to improve your smell. Cedric thinks that he's still out in the bush, and that rolling around in foul smells is part of his natural behavior. Can take Cedric out the bush, but you can't take the bush out of Cedric. You've got a beautiful cormorant that has seemed to be hanging around. So this is actually a bank cormorant. Look with your binos, because they look very similar when you look at them from a distance.
There's a big male leopard coming this way.
I've been waiting for a sighting of the two of them like this together. She just, for me, is just one of the most pretty females out here. As you can see, we're sitting with the Duke of DJUMA, Tingana, who is busy surveying his territory as the sun begins to set on another day in South Africa.
Here at WildEarth, we have added a range of new products and designs for the WildEarth shop. If you love being in nature, then we have a new range just for you. Our animal character line continues to grow, and this week we have incorporated a beautiful Tandy design to celebrate our favorite queen's life. April is Earth Day month, and investing in our planet is the message. And finally, there's a range just for our very own WildEarth explorers. Head over to our shop now and see what you can find.
You can't see it too well at the moment, but this bank cormorant actually has an eye that is divided into two hemispheres. The top part of the eye is an orangey brown color, while the bottom hemisphere is green. And the Cape cormorant, if we were looking directly at that bird's eye, it would be this beautiful turquoise color, but very, very similar in size, although the bank cormorant has a little bit of a thicker set neck. What have you seen, Cedric?
Sorry, just another penguin got taken by where the cormorant is.
In that wash.
Yeah, in that wash.
That's sucking out onto those shallow rocks.
I think they're like misreading these waves. That's
Definitely.
I think it's a high tide that's coming in now.
The tide is pushing. Cedric is spot on. The tide is pushing, and the swell that we have at the moment has got quite a large period. So the waves aren't coming through very regularly, and I think it's quite easy for the penguins to misjudge the water. I think the swell period's about 20 seconds, so not as regular as it would come in under normal circumstances, but that looked like quite a treacherous area to be. When the water pooled out there, it was pretty much just rocks at that stage. Moondust, I think I got your name right. Moondust, welcome to the show. And Moondust has asked if penguins ever get hurt when they are getting washed around the rocks. And penguins are very hardy birds. They do have solid bones because they are birds that need to dive, and if they had hollow bones, it would really be counterproductive for them. If they needed to dive to go hunt, they would be extremely buoyant. So having solid bones definitely helps them to navigate these treacherous conditions. They are quite good at reading the sea, and even in these surgy conditions over shallow water, generally get to land and also out to sea without too many issues. But if they do misjudge it, they can definitely cause some damage to themselves. But it is more the exception than the norm, being such hardy little birds. Those flippers are also very, very hard, and the bones within that flipper are compact and solid, and you can actually tell how hard the flippers are because they use it as a form of defense. Wow, it has been such an awesome day down here at Penguin Beach with Cedric. It has been really, really cool, and I can't wait to do it again. I'm quite sad that you're going to be heading off and going back to DJUMA, but hopefully I will see you up there as well.
Definitely, I'm looking forward to having you back that side again, definitely. And hopefully we can get some more lifers for you, more bird species. As Byron and Jax has showed me so much around here at this side, I really do appreciate it. I think it's a wonderful place to be, and I'll definitely be back again for you guys and to take a look at what else I can see. Definitely.
Fantastic. I can't wait. You can see that Cedric and I are matching. We've got our leopard scarves, we've got our WildEarth sweatshirts that are keeping us nice and warm with this coastal breeze. You can see I'm actually rolled my sleeves up, so it's keeping me very, very nice and warm.
So you're used to the Western Cape weather. I'm used to the low-fault weather, so definitely this sweatshirt is keeping me nice and warm in the Western Cape.
And if you would like to investigate the sweatshirts further, you can head over to the WildEarth website and go to the shopping section